All right, so we're going to solve our bell work first. The first one we want to factor. So remember you have to multiply your first and last term. That gave me my negative 14. We're trying to make it add to get negative 13. So my factors of negative 14 would be 7 and 2 or 14 and 1. So the 14 and 1 can get me 13. So I'm going to get a negative 14 and a positive 1. So I have 2x squared. Remember, I'm replacing that term with my two new terms. So it goes away. I'm going to get a negative 14x and a positive 1x. And then we're going to finish by grouping. So I'm going to factor out my 2x, factor out my 1. So I get 2x plus 1, x minus 7. It is equal to 0, so we need to finish solving it. So do your 2x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 7 equals 0. Divide your 2, so x equals negative 1/2. Add my 7, and x equals 7. All right, quadratic formula. A is 2, B is 7, C is negative 15. So I'm going to do x equals the opposite of b, so that's why it's negative 7, plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Remember, you want to do the discriminant first, so type in just this part into your calculator, which it apparently is frozen right now. So let's see if it unfreezes here soon. Okay, good. So this part right here in your calculator, so when I typed that in my calculator, I got 169. 2 times 2 is 4. So 169 does have a square root, so go ahead and type square root of 169 in your calculator, and you should get out 13. So I have negative 7 plus or minus 13 over 4, which means you need to do negative 7 plus 13, hit equals in your calculator, divide that answer by 4. Do negative 7 minus 13, hit equals in your calculator, and then divide that answer by 4. So you should be getting 3/2, which is 1.5, and negative 5. So if you want to put 1.5 there, that's fine too. So today what we're going to be learning is we're going to solve a quadratic equations by completing the square. So what that means is that we're going to want every single problem to look like this. It's going to be the same parenthesis twice. So there's some steps that we're going to do. So step 1 is that you need x's on one side, your constant on the other. So this 9 has to get added to the other side. That's step 1. So now I have numbers one side, x's on the other. So what you'll typically see me write this is, because I like to get lazy, is once I add the 9 over, I leave my blank because as you can see down here, we're going to add something to that. So step 2 is right here. We're going to take the b, remember that's the number in front of your x, you're going to divide it by 2 and then square it. So that's called half of b squared. So 4 squared is 16. And we added 16 to both sides of the equation. So that's step 3 right here. Add that to both sides of the equation. Now we say, what are the factors of 16 to get 8? So factors of 16 to get 8. So if you want to do your little 16 to get 8, we're going to get 4 and 4. And every single time, it should be the same number. And the number is half of your b. So half of this number is always the number that's going to fit in these two spots. So if you're trying to guess something weird, it's always half of b in those two. So since it's 4 and 4, that's why we put x plus 4 quantity squared. On the right side, we're just doing the math. We did 9 plus 16. That's how we got the 25 here. So now this right here is called vertex form. And you'll learn more about that when we start graphing. So this is called vertex form. Sometimes we'll also call it just for you to complete the square. So if we tell you to complete the square, you're stopping right here. This is this spot. So but we're going to go ahead and finish solving this problem. So to finish solving, to get rid of a square, we have to square root both sides. So that gives me x plus 4 equals plus and minus 5. So since it equals positive and negative 5, that means I have to solve it equal to a positive 5. And then I have to solve it equal to a negative 5. So either one of these would work. So we subtract 4 over. That gives me the x equals 1. Subtract my 4 here. That gives me the x equals negative 9. So those are our solutions. And if you put 1 back into the original equation up here, hit equals in your calculator, it will say 0. If you take the negative 9 and you correctly put it back in your calculator, you hit equals, it will come out 0 for you. So let's go ahead and follow these steps one more time down here. So step 1 here, I need to have x's on one side, numbers on the other. So I'm going to add my 17 to the other side. So this is step 1. X squared minus 16x. So step 2 now, I need to take half of my b, so negative 16, divide that by 2, and square it. So this is going to be negative 8 squared. Negative 8 squared is 64. So I like to put the 64 here because I'm lazy. So that's step 3. And now factors of 64 to get negative 16. The answer, so we're getting 64 to get negative 16. Remember, the answer is always this right here, negative b over 2. So it's a negative 8 and a negative 8. So then this is step 4. I'm going to have x minus 8 squared because there's 2 of them. And I'm going to do the math on the right side. 17 plus 64 equals 81. So that's your vertex form, your completed square. Now let's finish solving it. I'm going to square root both sides. So x minus 8 equals plus and minus 9. So I need to do x minus 8 equals 9. And x minus 8 equals negative 9. Both times we're going to be adding our 8. So I'm going to get x equals 17 and negative 1. All right, let's try another one. So add 21 to the other side. We're going to add something to both sides. What we add to both sides is negative b divided by 2 squared. So that's negative 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides of my equation. So now we're saying, what are your factors of 4 to get negative 4? And remember, the answer is always half of your b. So negative 2 and negative 2. So we get x minus 2 squared. Right side, just do your math. And now that's your vertex form. To solve it, we square root both sides. Square root of 25 is 5. And then we're going to do x minus 2 equals 5. X minus 2 equals negative 5. So add my 2 both times. X is going to equal 7 and negative 3. I should say, or negative 3. So x is 7 or negative 3 on that problem.